So now we're recording. So welcome to, I don't even know can't remember what the workshop is called, but it's digital annotation, text analysis, and network analysis with Recogito, which is the tool that we're going to be using the most. And then we're going to go a little bit into Gephi. A little housekeeping before we get started. I'll suggest that if you want to follow along with Gephi or Recogito, it's a web platform, so that you don't need to do anything right away. But for Gephi, what I'm going to do is if you don't have Gephi on your computer, I'm just going to send the link to where you can download it. You don't have to for today. We're just going to be in Gephi for like a few minutes. It's not going to be that long. But just in case you want to follow along or you want to have the link to download it, I'm just going to share it in the chat. Perfect. I'm sorry if you can hear noise. I am wearing headphones, but my neighbor has decided to start remodeling their condo right now. So we have that. And then I'm going to share with you as well in the chat a file that we are going to be using today for our as our text for the project. You don't have to choose that. It has to be a text file. So that's why I'd rather just send it to you right now and know that you can work with it. And hopefully it will work. Last time we had a few issues, but today I checked it yesterday. It should work fine. As you can see, I was left traumatized from the last time. So I just sent it in the chat. You can download it from there. It's an excerpt of Around the World in 80 Days, and you're going to see later why I actually chose that specific excerpt and not anything else. Perfect. And okay, so we're going to go to Recogito in a second, but I just want to share with you one more link. I promise it's the last one, which is a link to our digital annotation guide, where you can find links to Recogito, but also a few other tools for annotation and also annotating images and annotating sound. Perfect. So today we're going to be looking at one tool in particular, which is called Recogito. And it is a tool that allows you to work both on text and images. And you can pretty much annotate it whatever you want. But one of the nice things is that it allows you to identify names and places and also events in a way that is easy to do so. And then you can actually, what I love about it is that you can export those annotations in a variety of formats. So with those same annotations that we're going to do today, you can download it in a format that is appropriate to use for Gephi, for network analysis. But then you also are able to download the geographical information. So then you can upload that to Google Earth or to any kind of geospatial tool that you use for analysis. So it's actually quite nice in that sense that it helps you prepare data for a lot of different types of analysis that you may want to do. So we're going to go ahead and go to Recogito. If you clicked on the link that I sent, you can just go to annotate text, and it's the first one. If not, I'm just going to send the link to you again in the chat so that you can access it. Perfect. And once you are there, I'm just going to ask you to create an account. I'm going to log in myself just so that, but I'm going to ask you to create an account. And while you do that, I'm going to take 2 seconds to Google something that I forgot to have open. So I'll just take I'll stop sharing for a second while you create an account, and I'll be right back. Perfect. Hopefully you did it. And I was smarter than I thought, and I actually had bookmarked what I wanted to open. So look at that. Win-win for everyone. Okay, I'm gonna go back to sharing, and hopefully you all have created your account. If not, totally fine. I see we have a chat. Okay, perfect. So you have created it. Yeah, it's actually quite easy. There are other tools that I work with where it takes time until you get the email back, or like Happy Trust, for example, like their analysis that wants to create a password that's 15 characters long. The Recogito is quite easy in that sense. So once you log in, it will look somewhat like this, except that you won't have anything under my documents because you haven't uploaded anything. If you want to upload, you can just come here to new. So left-hand side, once you're here, there's going to be there's the blue button that says new, and then you can do upload from different types of places. You can do a folder. Today for us, we're just going to do the file upload, and then once you do the file upload, it's like uploading anything to any platform or even to an email. Like you just have like that the upload dialog. So I'm gonna give you like 30 seconds to upload the text that I sent you. It does have to be a text file. You can also do CSV files, and you can do images as well. That is like a whole different workshop that we do. If you're interested, it is in our YouTube channel, and I'll probably teach it again at some point this year. But if not, actually, that one is already recorded and on our YouTube channel. This one will also be on our YouTube channel, but I'll also be sharing the recording with you once once the workshop is over and if we don't miss out too much. But for us, we're just going to do the file upload. As you can see, like I have a variety of things that I have worked with. Just because we have the time and there's not that many of us, I'll just give you a quick show. I'll show you what happens like with an image, for example, just so that you can see. So no, sorry, I just have to, I'm going to make myself small. Maybe not. There we go. And then you just choose whatever you want to do, and then you move to options and open. We're going to do the same thing with the one that you're working or the one you are uploading. And as you can see, I have a variety of annotations in my image. So you can do this for images and you can do it for text. What you can do with images and text is a little bit different in the sense that you have more options or more formats that you can work with afterwards when you do text, just because of the nature of the data. There's nothing more. Like with text, we can establish relationships, whereas with the image, not necessarily, but just something to know. So if you have actually been able to upload it and everything is working fine, what we're going to do now is open it. So I'm just going to click on the one I want to open, which is this last one over here. I uploaded mine yesterday. And as I said, it was the same file that you used. So hopefully there are no issues. And then I'm just going to click on open. And this is what it looks like. This is sort of like your dashboard where we are going to be working today. You can see nothing too complicated, nothing too difficult. We are currently in annotation mode normal. I have my text. And then I have a few other things that I'm not going to work too much about. There's not a lot that interests me. And then this stuff over here, we're going at the top, we're going to talk about it once we have annotated a few things. So in Recogito, we can annotate whatever we want. However, there are three entities that there's more structure to, or we have more structure to annotate than others, because we could annotate anything. But the three that they have are people or names, places, and finally events. So we're going to go ahead and do, we're not going to do events, but we are going to do today some places, and we're also going to do some places and some people, and then we are going to start. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start annotating the main character, which is filled with fog. And to annotate, all I really need to do is I need to highlight whatever I want to annotate. And there you see, immediately it created something. I can say it's a place, I can say it's a person, I can say it's an event. For our case today, he's going to be a person. So I'm just going to add that it is a person. And then I can add a comment, so I can add more information. And for this, we are going to use something to help us make sure that we know that everything is the same thing. This will come in really handy if we were to then download all this data as a CSV file. It will just help us make sure that we know that this is the same as the other Phileas fog. So what we're going to do is we're going to find a unique identifier for that particular person. Now, identifiers, you probably have worked with identifiers if you don't know what they are, but you work with them or you've seen them before and you just never pay attention. So a concept of identifiers that you probably have seen is ISBN numbers. So ISBN numbers are identifiers for books. So we know that anything that has that number is that particular book. You might also have seen it with DOIs with articles. So it's a number that it's assigned to a specific thing. And what it's practical in the sense that even if like the names differ a little bit or there's something that's not exactly the same, because I have that same identifier, I'm able to make sure that I know that all of those are the same person. So for us today, we have Phileas Fogg, and we're going to try to find an identifier. And for that, I like to use one of the options we can use is here is the Virtual International Authority file. I'm just going to send you the link just in case you want to check it. And that will help me find the number. So I'm just going to search here in the VF. I'm going to do Phileas Fogg. Now, I want to make sure because like there was someone who had that name kind of. So I'm going to make sure that here it says fictitious character. So I'm going to click on it. And I say, yes, this is the one that I want. And then it will give me a VF ID for a person. So then all I really need to do is just copy that, and then I'm going to put it here. So now when I get my data later on, if I download it like a CSV or something like that, I'll know that even if like, because sometimes in here you see Phileas Fogg, but sometimes you'll see Mr. Fogg. There are some sort of things that the system doesn't do that well. So this will allow me to make sure that I know that all of those are the same person. It's another way of identifying. I could also add tags should you want to. I'm not going to do it right now. And then I can click OK, or I can click OK as next. And then what this is going to do is it's going to try to match it to any other Phileas Fogg in the text. So we'll, instead of just annotating one person, it's going to annotate it every single time that it shows up. Now, it sometimes fails a little bit, either because it maybe there's a comma, maybe there is a period, maybe it's just called Mr. Fogg. So we still need to do some work with that. So that's where that number comes in very handy, but I'm just going to click on OK next. And it's telling me there are 119 more unannotated occurrences of Phileas Fogg. Do you want to reapply this annotation? And I'm going to say yes. If you go to advanced options, you can also choose allow any string match, including inside words. And this may be useful in terms of catching that things were like there's a comma or there's something like that. For me, I'm just going to do for now the so I'm going to do it like this. But you can play around with it and see which one works better. And then I'm just going to apply changes. If it wants to. Perfect. I thought for a second, like, is this tool just like cursed? But as you can see now, Phileas Fogg is highlighted because it has been annotated by me. So we have our first annotation right now. Now we're going to work on another type of annotation, which is actually, no, before we do that, we are going to look for Passepartout, who was his employee. See here, for example, it didn't catch Mr. Fogg. So we would need to tag that again. And then once we're working with the data, put it all together. But we'll be fine for now. Okay, so here I have Passepartout. So I'm going to highlight Passepartout. There we go. Same thing. I'm going to see if there is one for him. Ideally, it would also say fictitious character. It doesn't. Fine. Okay, but this one, for example, because here it's for around the world in 80 days. Let's see if there's another one that we like a little bit better. For now today, and just for in the sense of time, I'm just going to use this one. So now I have another VF that I can use. Perfect. And I'm going to paste it. And okay, next. Perfect. So now I have it's thinking. Hopefully we'll stop thinking. Okay, perfect. So now as you can see, we have path2 also highlighted. Now, as I said, we can also, so we have our 3 ways of annotating, or our 3 main things that we annotate. But another thing that you can do with Recogito, if you can see here, it says relation, is that we can create relationships between annotations. So for example, I'm going to create an annotation where Peleus Fog and Passepartout have a working relationship. So I'm going to connect the two, and I'm going to, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here on relations. So we were in normal, now we go to relation. And then all you really need to do is you just choose Passepartout and Peleus Fog. And then I'm going to tag that relationship. I'm going to give it a name. So we're going to say employee. And now I know that these 2 characters are actually connected. I don't need to do it for all of them. I only need to do it once. But now I know that this, like these 2 characters are connected. And then we can keep going, but we have one over there. So we did people, and we did, we did people, we did a relationship. Now we're going to go and do some places. So we're going to annotate some places just to show you how it's a little bit different. So we're going to scroll down to where I know we have people. So scroll down with me here. So here we have a list of places. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to choose some of them, and I'm going to annotate them using the geographical type of annotation. So I'm going to start with London. I'm going to go back to normal. Again, all I need to do is highlight. But as opposed to using person, I'm going to use place. You know what? I think I made Passepartout a person. Maybe I was wrong. So I'm going to use place. And it's going to try to find it. This one, I'm not loving it. So what it does is it connects to a variety of maps that you can use to find that specific place. I'm going to click here on change. I'm going to use a different map. And it's kind of really funny because the first thing it wants to do is it wants to give me London, Canada, which is not what we want right now. So I'm going to do London, United Kingdom. I'm going to choose it. And then I know that it is going to tag London. And as we did before, we're going to do OK, next. Then we're also going to do, let's do Calcutta. So place is going to look for it. I'm going to click on change. I click on the one I want. The green ones usually work, the yellows don't. So, okay, and then I'm going to do, I'm going to click no because I'm going to do OK next. Did I do OK next? There we go. So we have OK next, and then we're going to, it did an OK next for me. I'm going to do it again. Sorry, I'm just trying to do it one more time. Oh, there we go. Okay, next. Perfect. And then we're going to do Hong Kong. Place. Change. Now, something that is unfortunate, and it has to do with the maths, not with anything else. Depending on the country, it will go deeper than others. So for example, I was working on this old diary, and they were in Haiti. It's like an old travel diary from this rich woman who went on a cruise. And they were in Haiti, and they were like, I was trying to find specific places in Haiti, and that was just not possible. I had to do like Haiti as a country. Other times you will be able to go down to the city level. And then we're gonna do San Francisco. Be better if I do it properly. San Francisco. Set the place, change. Francisco, there's a San Francisco everywhere. There we go. Or at least everywhere that had Spanish colonization. Okay. And last but not least, New York. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a relationship again between Phileas Fogg and these places. So I'm going to say, go back to relation, and I'm going to say that Phileas Fogg lives in London. And then what I'm also going to say, that Phileas Fogg travels. And then again, I'm creating a few relationships just so that when we go to Gephi, it looks more interesting, because otherwise it will be just like one line. And then I'm going to okay, so now that we have created some stuff and we have some annotations, obviously you would do this, you would spend more time doing this, but today we're just in a workshop and we only have half an hour left. I'm going to show you, as we have some annotations, I'm going to show you again, we're going to go to some of this stuff over here. So we have our annotations. We're first going to go to the map view. And this is where I'm going to see all those places that I tagged, that I annotated. So we have London, and then Calcutta, and then Hong Kong, and we have San Francisco. You're going to see that the size of the circles vary, and that has to do with how many times that term shows up in the text, or how many times that word is annotated. So we can see that London is a little bit bigger, with the others not so big, especially with India, like Calcutta is not that big. What I also like about it as a way to do analysis is that I can just click on whatever green dot, and then I can see all the excerpts of where it is named in the text. Now, one unfortunate thing for me, at least, is that you cannot share this with anyone. Like, you can work with team. You can work in a team with other people in Recogito, and you can all see it. But you are not able to like share this visualization, which is really sad because it's actually quite a good one. It's my width left. But what can we do? Okay, so this is one thing that we can do. Then we have over here, we have our annotation statistics. So it'll just tell us how many annotations we have, how many comments, so how many relationships are there, things like that. And then we're going to go to the best part of Recogito, which is, as I said, is all these different ways in which you can download the data that you created. So I'm going to go very quickly through some of them, and then, or through all of them, and then we're going to sort of focus mainly on the relationship ones, which we're going to go to Gephi. So you can just download your annotations as a CSV file, but then you can use in other places to analyze. You could use it to analyze using like some kind of text analysis. You could use it for a variety of things. You could also can download it as either a KML or a GeoJSON file. These are files that then you can use for geographical or geospatial analysis tools. So the KML is very good for Google Earth, but also a few other types of GIS software. And then the GeoJSON 2 can work in other things as well. So you can actually play around with it, and you can, I've put it on Google Maps, but also not Google Maps, Google Earth, but also into something like I can't remember the name right now, but other types of GIS, like GIS analysis tools. One thing that I don't love about the Google Earth option is that it doesn't take into consideration how many times a particular thing is mentioned, a particular place is mentioned. So you don't see those differences. It just marks the places on the map, but it doesn't give you that sort of like how that difference in importance or the difference in how many times it is mentioned. And then we have the relations, which is what we're going to do today on Gephi, where we're going to just export it. So you can do a basic relationship where just or a basic file where you just see a CSV, so an Excel file where you just see those relationships. But today what we're going to do is we're going to use the second one where we're going to download Gephi nodes and edges, which I'll explain in a second what those are. And then we're going to be able to create that relationship graph. And then we have a few other things, but we're not going to get in trouble today with that. We're not going to trouble ourselves with that. So we have our two here. So I'm going to ask you to do, oh, we have a question. Yes, someone, perfect. So I'm going to go back before we do this, and we're going to do one more time how to create that relation. So I'm going to go back here to the document view. And you can do this, like I did the travels, but that is just the name I chose to give it. It doesn't really matter what you do it, but we're going to do one more. So we have, we're going to go to the list of countries. So all we're doing is just creating a relationship between the two words that we decided to annotate. So I'm going to do New York over here. So then I'm going to do place, change New York City. And we're going to annotate everything. And then we're going to go back here. So we're going to establish that relationship. So to establish any relationship, I'm going to go to relations, click on it. I'm going to click on the first thing I want to link to my second one. And then once I'm there, I can just give it any tag I want. I have used travels just because it's one that works. You can also see that there is like a little arrow in all of my lines that are showing the direction, like the direction of that relationship. So whenever we talk about any kind of graph that we do, especially the graphs, like any kind of network graph, we can have those edges, which are the lines that, you know, that join two terms. They can be unidirectional, so they can be from one to the other, moving only in one directional, or bidirectional, which is when they could move either way. So just to give you an example, if we're talking about a citation, usually a citation is unidirectional because you cannot cite things that will be written in the future because you don't know about it. But there are other things where I don't know if I had the entire book in this excerpt and then Phyllis Fogg gets married, we could do one where, or we could say that there's one where it's actually bidirectional because we have two people who are married to each other. So hopefully we are good with this. So we're going to go back here. We're going to go to our download options again, and then I'm going to download the nodes, and I'm going to download the edges. And once I've done this, I'm going to open Gephi. So if you were not able to download it, I wouldn't worry too much because it's not something that we really need to worry about. You can always come back and look at the image and do it. Sorry, look at the video and do it if you're interested in. Or so they have a question if you can create bidirectional lines. You know what? I am not entirely sure. I've never tried it. Let's see if I could. I don't think you can. No, it doesn't give you that option. The main reason I mention it, oh no, let me just connect this together. It doesn't really matter. I already downloaded it. The main reason I like to mention it is because today, as I said, we're only going to be in Gephi for a few minutes. But in Gephi, if you were working with different type of data and data that you created, you could have those directional or bidirectional links. So that's why I want to mention it. But in this one, it's It's unidirectional. So I'm just going to change because I'm only sharing with words on the screen. So I'm going to change what I'm sharing, and I'm going to open Gephi. So if you're opening Gephi and you've never seen Gephi in your life, this is what it looks like. Once you open Gephi, you're going to see something like this. Yours that says open recent, you're not going to have this open recent because you don't have anything recent because you just downloaded Gephi. For me, I just have things that I worked with before. So what we're going to do here first is go to new project and create a new project. So Gephi is a platform that allows us to visualize networks, which is what we're going to do today. And then it does have an analysis included, but we're not going to worry too much about it. If you are interested in Gephi and you would like to know more and you would like for me to offer a workshop on Gephi, let me know, and we'll see how we'll fit it into our schedule. But today we're just doing this. Okay, I'm taking from Recogito and then I'm putting into Gephi. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to add my data. So I'm going to come here to data table, or here I'm in the data laboratory. And you see here it says nodes and edges. And you may have noticed when we were trying to download things, that there was a button that said nodes and a button that says edges. So I mentioned that edges are the lines that join our different terms. And our nodes are those terms that are being joined. So our nodes will be the circles, the edges are the lines. So what we're going to do first is we're going to actually import those spreadsheets that we just downloaded into Gephi. So I'm going to come here to import spreadsheet. And I know that mine is here. Should be under downloads, which I just downloaded. Sorry, I'm just gonna go and check what letter they start, so that I can tell you. Okay, Z, perfect. Ideally, like you could have them, we could have them somewhere better. Okay, so if you look at this here, you're going to see that I have two files that have the exact same name, and then one of them says edges and one of them says nodes. So I'm going to click on nodes, and I'm going to open it. It's going to look at my data. So I have Passepartout, Phileas Fogg. See how I have two different ones is because probably there's some kind of difference I didn't see. And then I had the different places. I'm going to click on next. Not going to touch any of this. I'm going to click on finish. And then this is very important. It's going to want to add it to a new workspace. You're going to say, no, thank you, append to existing workspace. So we're just going to say, no, thank you, append to existing workspace, and click on OK. So we have uploaded our nodes. Our nodes, as you can see right now, are just an ID and a label. There's nothing more. If we had more tags, or if there are tags, you could probably they would show up here as well. But for us right now, we just have our identifiers and our different nodes. Now we're going to add the edges. We're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to go to edges. I'm going to go to import spreadsheet. I know now that I have to go all the way to the Z. I'm going to click where it says edges. Again, I'm going to open. It's going to show me the data. Looks cool. And then I'm going to click on next. Not touch anything here. And then finish. We're going to do the same thing. It's going to want to open a new workspace, but we're going to say, no, thank you. I want to append to the existing workspace. And just click on OK. And now I have my nodes. Sorry, my edges. So how things are connected. Again, here we have our source. So this is the identifier for the first thing that we're connecting, the target, which is the second thing we're connecting. And then here you can see it says here, you see kind of says directed, directed, directed. On Gephi, you can have directed or I don't remember what the name, no, I think it's called them non-directed or something like that. But directed means unidirectional, and whatever other term they use is not like it's bidirectional. Just know that. And then here's the interval, and then it also shows, which has to do with time. We're not really worried about that. And then the weight, sorry, this, we don't have nothing here. And then the weight, and it's assigning the same weight. We could sort of play with this if we wanted to, and that would change the size of the nodes. For us right now, not a big deal. So if I come here to graph, I'm going to see what my graph looks like. But right now it doesn't say much. So I'm going to come here to overview, where I can play with my graph a little bit better, and I can change a few things. So maybe first of all, what I want is I want to see my labels, and I also want to see my my lines. Play around with it. You can move, if you go to graph in the data laboratory, you could technically, you should be able to move it. I don't know why it's not letting you. And then if I want to change like things more artistically, I could do that over here. So these are ways to change colors. So I can change, for example, the ones over here is if we had different weights for things. So how, each thing is maybe connected to something more times, or a relationship is stronger, then I could have it be a little bit different. I'm just reading the question here. Can we generate edges directions in Gephi, and will the direction in Recogito version content impact the Gephi direction? Yes, whatever you have, whatever the data that you have from Recogito, it will, that's what it will be reflected. However, you could very well, because you download a CSV file, so you could change those that you want from director to director in the CSV file. Because they're editable, you can just open it with your Excel, change, like that. I'm just gonna go back to where the data is, over here. Like this is an Excel file, a CSV file, but you can open it in Excel or whatever other spreadsheet software you use. And this, you could just change it. So yeah, you could technically do it. Yeah. And then that's sort of pretty much it. You can play around with this. You can alter it. This is quite a simple way to generate the network. Maybe probably I would make a few things smaller. But for us today, this would allow you to, there we go. I just want to make it like a little bit, if you just, you're not letting me do this. Let me do this. So if you come here to like the little period, then you can make it a little easier to see. But yeah, that is how you can take one thing from Recogito and just put it into Gephi. Again, this is a very simple use of Gephi. There are more things you can do, and like you can, depending on like your spreadsheet, you can generate spreadsheets that allow you for more, how can I say that? More complex graphs where you have different weights and different colors used for to illustrate how strong our relationship is, or how connected a particular item is in your graph. But that has been pretty much all for today. So on Gephi, you can only do visualizations of network analysis. I'll tell you of a story that actually, first of all, I'm going to stop the recording. So if you have joined us until now, thank you so much. I'm just going to stop the recording. And for the video people, hopefully you enjoyed it.